and welcome back to this week's edition of Reading Blog. This week we are discussing the book The London Eye Mystery by Siobhán Dowd. I'm your host Katrina McCarthy, and today I'm joined with Laura Moore, Marie O'Brien and Vivian Mulcahy. So Laura, will you give us a brief synopsis on this book?
Yeah, so this book is about a boy called Ted who has a unique outlook on life, and his Aunt Gloria and his cousin Celine come to stay with him for a while, and the book is basically about how him and his sister Kat go about solving the mystery of the London Eye together.
Very good. Okay, so you mentioned there that Ted isn't our stereotypical boy that we're used to. So will we go and develop that a bit further?
Yeah, in the book, Ted obviously is, I think he's around 10 or 11. And usually when you read a book now, you expect a boy to be into sports at that age or into whatever, your stereotypical boys.
Action and kind of.
Oh, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But Ted deals with things in a different manner. His main hobby and topic that he likes to talk about is weather.
Okay.
And obviously that's not something you'd expect every child to know. I wouldn't know half the things he said about weather in it. I thought that was really interesting the way Siobhán Dowd brought that into the book. It's kind of relatable for everybody that you don't actually have to be the norm in society. You don't have to fit in. You can actually be unique and you can have your own way of life, basically.
Yeah. So with his way of dealing with things, so with his interest in weather and that, it kind of, the book never explicitly said it, but it showed that he had some sort of Asperger's from what we were reading. And I personally felt like it was a great way of, showing exactly how maybe someone with Asperger's might think and might feel.
Absolutely, and as you said, it never explicitly said it, so you just inferred it from, the interest in meteorology from just certain
and details.
Yeah, interactions maybe he had with some of his family members.
Even how she explained that's his brain working on a different operating system. It's awful. It's different. Like, she didn't actually say, right, he doesn't think normal like people do. He's put in as being normal.
Absolutely.
But it fits in completely with society. It's not a taboo. It's not something we should look down on.
No, absolutely not. It's just, as you said, working on a different operating system. So he has the very same life as his sister Kat does, as his cousin does. It's just his brain works slightly differently. So I thought that was a brilliant way of putting it, and also for maybe somebody reading the book who either has Asperger's or knows somebody with Asperger's, it gives you a much deeper insight into how their thought process
and feelings.
Absolutely, yeah.
And how does his family take towards the Asperger's, and how do they kind of I suppose not work with him, but how do they treat Ted, and how is his relationships with others?
His relationship, I think the main relationship we see is the one between him and his sister Kat. So they have, obviously they're two very different people. She'd be very much a stereotypical
She's
girl.
older as well.
She's older as well, yeah. So I'd say sometimes it can be hard for her to try and see on the same level as
relate
Ted.
To him, and
but at the same time she does look out for him, even though she mightn't say it directly to his face, but she would care and she would look out for him if anyone was.
Definitely, and their plans and their kind of schemes, they kind of work together very well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so as we were talking about earlier, with the weather and the vocabulary, and it just showed that Siobhán Dowd kind of had a kind of a different writing style, and she used his Asperger's. She used this writing style to show his Asperger's in a way.
And I think not only his Asperger's, but kind of our multicultural modern society. I mean, we had a single parent family in the story. We also had different ethnic backgrounds and different races in the story, and it just really reflects modern society. And I think that's very important, that you have literature that reflects it, that it isn't all your kind of stereotypical white middle class family, that everybody is
with a mom and a dad.
That everybody is catered for.
But she didn't go too overboard either. She didn't go all just single parent, all different ethnic backgrounds. She showed your stereotypical family, mom, dad, children, and then you had single parent family and a different ethnic background there as well, as Rashid was Indian.
Yes.
So
she fit in very very, like, as if it was very normal, you know, it was just part of society.
Yeah, I suppose her book was very kind of fast paced, and
yeah,
I think that probably was due to the short chapters. It kind of things happened at a fast pace, the plot kept going, and I think that was again something that I found myself. I could hardly leave the book down. I wanted to see what was happening.
It was very gripping.
It really was.
And the London Eye mystery, obviously, you wouldn't necessarily want to be ruining it for everyone, but as you keep going, you're kind of you encounter kind of different parts of London as well, which is a good thing that you could learn about, and they travel in different ways.
Yeah, like there's the mention of the tube in London, and then there's the mention of Celine going off to New York, and you know, you can talk about, like, they talk about his flight a few times, how they were going to fly out to New York, so there's different modes of transport and different places mentioned as well that's relatable for everybody, I think.
Yeah, so you kind of, as well, you had like New York, you had Manchester, you'd London, so they were great ways of, you know, showing how that even in like our society now, you can go to New York in a day, and you know, it was like really relatable that way.
Yeah.
So Marie, it was nominated for awards as well.
Yeah, it was nominated for the NASEN award and also the Bisto Book of the Year award. I think we're all in agreement that it's very deserving of
definitely,
those awards.
No, it definitely, it appeals to all, young and old alike, absolutely. Okay, so that's all we have time for today. Join us next week when we'll be discussing Kenzuki's Kingdom by Michael Moore-Pargo.